Hey class, this is Philip Bredenberg, and here are some thoughts on the Second Great Awakening. Three thoughts for you to kind of consider as you're reading through the materials on Charles Finney and the Second Great Awakening, and Calvinism and Arminianism and democracy and all of those other things. So, first point is, as contrasted with the First Great Awakening, which took place mostly in New England, the Second Great Awakening is taking place further into the west, so upstate New York, but also the backwood country of Kentucky. Kentucky is pretty difficult to get to at this point. You have to go through the Appalachian Mountains. There aren't any roads. There's not a whole lot of railroads. Mostly everything's traveled by ship through rivers, down the Ohio River, and things like that. So this is happening in areas that don't have a lot of oversight, that don't have a lot of control, if that's the right word, and it's kind of just people autonomously meeting and things like that. So that's important to remember. It kind of doesn't have a whole lot of oversight in it. Second, we've talked about this before, but democracy is going on even more. People are choosing what they like. People are choosing what they want. As contrasted with like the First Great Awakening, somewhat, anyone really can say, I'm an itinerant preacher, I'm here and I have a message from God. There isn't as much oversight in terms of who is saying what. There aren't just like preachers that have been there for 50 years and everyone knows them and things like that. It's, Methodist preachers who, are on their horses, on their donkeys, going from one small community in Kentucky to the next. And because of the final point, the first point being that it's in the backwoods country, the second being that there's democracy, the third point is kind of a synthesis of this all. Because it's in the backwoods, and because there's a choice in the matter now, we see a splintering of American Christianity, which is kind of new. During this time, a lot of new religious groups come up. The Mormons, the Oneida community, the Movers, the Shakers, Charles Finney. There's a lot of things during this area, and there's a lot of splintering going on. So what I mean by this is, if you have the choice to choose whatever you want, you can just create whatever you want. If you don't like the current denominations that are in front of you, whether that's Presbyterian, Baptist, Methodist, just start your own. And that's what we're seeing with things like the Oneida community in upstate New York, the Mormons in upstate New York, various smaller sects occurring in Kentucky, and things like that. So, once again, because it's in the backwoods area, and because there's a democracy element, we see a splintering of American Christianity into many smaller sects. So, as you're going through the materials on the Second Great Awakening, keep in mind just this important factor in American Christianity. And it very much is our story. As you go through our history, America is a place of various different viewpoints. You may not agree with them all, but that's just the way things are. So you can kind of trace that back towards the awakenings and things like that. So good luck with your studies for this week, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thanks.